When I rewatched Harry Potter last month, something felt off. Not the magic, not the story, but the stuff I thought was normal when I was a kid. It hit completely different. The Dursleys locking Harry in a cupboard? That's not a quirky backstory. That's child abuse. Dumbledore keeping secrets? That's not wisdom. That's manipulation. Snape's always? That's not romantic. That's honestly kind of unhealthy. So before we dive in, if you're watching this because you grew up with Harry Potter and you're curious what you missed, do me a favor and hit subscribe. Because trust me, these 4 moments are going to change how you see the entire series. Let's start with the one that made me actually uncomfortable. The Dursleys cupboard. This wasn't quirky. It was abuse. When you were a kid, the cupboard under the stairs felt almost whimsical. A tiny room. Spiders. Harry's little space. It was part of the adventure, the miserable beginning before Hogwarts saves him. But watch it again as an adult, and it stops being quirky. It becomes child abuse. The Dursleys didn't just neglect Harry, they starved him, locked him in, forgot his birthdays, every single one, made him sleep in a closet for 10 years while their own son had 2 bedrooms. They isolated him, told him he was worthless, punished him for things he couldn't control. When you were young, you thought, well, at least he gets to go to Hogwarts. But as an adult, you realize that trauma doesn't disappear when you board a train. Harry spends his entire childhood being told he's a burden, unwanted, a freak, and somehow he grows up kind, not bitter, not cruel, not like them. That's not magic, that's survival. And the fact that Dumbledore left him there, knowing what that house was, feels different now, doesn't it? Be honest, did you realize the Dursleys were abusive when you first read the books? Or did it take growing up to see it? Dumbledore's for the greater good. The mentor was a manipulator. When you first read Harry Potter, Dumbledore felt safe, wise, powerful, grandfatherly. He was the one adult Harry could trust. But reread the series as an adult, and something shifts. Dumbledore doesn't protect Harry. He orchestrates him. From the very beginning, Dumbledore knows Harry is a Horcrux. He knows Harry will have to die, and he never tells him. Instead, he carefully shapes Harry's entire life, placing him with the Dursleys to keep him humble, letting him face Voldemort year after year, withholding information that could have saved lives, all to ensure Harry will choose to walk into the Forbidden Forest and die. As Snape says, "You've been raising him like a pig for slaughter," and Dumbledore doesn't deny it. He just says, "Don't tell him until it's necessary." When you were young, Dumbledore felt like a protector, but as an adult you see him for what he is, a strategist. He loves Harry, maybe, but he's willing to sacrifice him. And here's the most chilling part. Dumbledore manipulates everyone around Harry to make sure the plan works. He uses Snape's grief over Lily to bind him to a lifetime of service. He uses Harry's presence to lure Slughorn back to Hogwarts. He orchestrates his own death to protect Draco's soul, but also to ensure Snape stays trusted by Voldemort. These aren't the actions of a benevolent mentor, they're the actions of a puppet master who believes the ends justify the means. And maybe they do, but watching it as an adult you understand, good intentions don't erase harm. Here's the question. Was Dumbledore right? Or did he cross a line when he decided Harry's life was his to spend? Snape's always love or obsession? Always. One word. Alan Rickman's perfect delivery. The Do Patronus. When you first experienced this moment, it felt romantic, a hidden love revealed, a tragic devotion. Snape protected Harry all along, not for Dumbledore, not for redemption, but for Lily. Beautiful, right? But watch it again as an adult, and it starts to feel uncomfortable. Snape's Patronus is the same as Lily's, a doe, which means his Patronus changed to match hers when she fell in love with James, and it stayed that way, forever. Even though Lily rejected him, married someone else, had a child with that man, died 17 years ago, Snape never moved on. His love for Lily didn't heal, it calcified. His entire identity became defined by a woman who didn't love him back. That's not devotion, that's fixation. And here's what makes it more tragic. Snape protects Harry, but he also resents him. He sees James in Harry's face. He punishes Harry for resembling his father. Real love would have meant protecting Harry and treating him with kindness, but Snape couldn't do that, because he never processed his grief. He just clung to it. The always moment isn't redemption. It's a man who spent his entire life stuck in the past. When you were young, that felt noble. As an adult, it feels like a warning. Love without growth isn't love. It's haunting. So here's the uncomfortable question. Was Snape's love for Lily beautiful, or was it unhealthy? The Mirror of Erised, the seduction of longing. Harry stands in front of the Mirror of Erised, and he sees his parents, alive, smiling, whole. When you first read this, it felt tender, magical, a boy seeing the family he never had. But as an adult, this scene becomes painful, because Dumbledore warns Harry, men have wasted away before it. And when you're young, that sounds dramatic, but as an adult, it sounds familiar. The mirror doesn't show truth, it shows desire. And the cruelest part? It gives you exactly what you want, but never lets you have it. Harry could have spent the rest of his life staring at that reflection, watching his parents, imagining conversations, building a fantasy family, and it would have destroyed him, because unresolved longing is a trap. There are things you wish had happened, people you wish were still here, versions of your life that never came to pass, and if you stare at those possibilities long enough, they stop being hopes. They become prisons. The mirror doesn't capture Harry with force, it captures him with comfort, and that's what makes it dangerous. Growing up means learning to turn away from reflections that feel soothing but keep you stuck. Harry is 11. He doesn't understand that yet, but you do now. Question: what would your Mirror of Erised show you? And would you be able to walk away?